guys, this is Eliza and welcome back to a new video. So today I'm filming a video basically about the books that I want to read before the end of the year. So before 2020 basically, which is really scary considering we're like, what, 5.5 months away from 2020? What the actual fuck? But anyways, you might have heard me mention this video in previous reading vlogs if you watch those, as I had planned on doing this a lot earlier than what I'm actually doing it. And in those reading vlogs where I was discussing my bullet journal and I put a spreadsheet for basically what this video is in my bullet journal, and I did mention that this book was on that list. So This Cruel Design by Emily Sue Varda. I have, however, already read this. I planned on having this in the list because I wrote the list like the start of this month. It is now, what, the 21st, and I have read this book. So this is no longer on the list. So I chose another one to make it 10, but just in case you were curious because you saw those reading vlogs, I did read it. I took it off the list instead of leaving it on here. So let's just jump into it. I won't discuss in detail what the books are about, but I will mention if they're part of a series or if they're part of a series I already read. And I will try and mention why I want to read these before 2020, whether it's just because I'm excited about it or whether because they're a sequel and I like really need to get to it before like a next book comes out or something along those lines. I will try and mention that if there's a specific reason. But anyways, let's get into it. So in no particular order, I'm just picking them up off the pile I've got sitting here. First we have Two Dark Reigns by Kendall Blake. This is the third book in the Three Dark Crowns series. I read Three Dark Crowns and One something Throne. What's that other one? One Dark Throne. Three Dark Crowns, One Dark Throne, Two Dark Reigns. Okay, they match, righto. I didn't realize dark was a common word. So yeah, I read Three Dark Crowns and One Dark Throne. That's really confusing. Last year I think it was. I might have read Three Dark Crowns the year before and I really enjoyed them and I want to continue the series, but I just haven't got around to doing it. And it's been a fair while, so I think I'm gonna need to like do a little bit of a refresher, like Google the synopsis or something, because it's been a while and I can't really remember what happened. So yeah, but I am keen to get this one and I want to get to it by the end of this year because I've already had it sitting on my TBR for too long. Next we have Arch Enemies. So this is the second book to Renegades by Marissa Meyer, which I read not last year, I think it might have been the year before. It could have been last year, I can't really remember. But I was sent this by Pam McMillan Australia at the start of the year as I requested it, and I still haven't got to reading it. So I really need to get to that. I don't know when exactly this came out, but yeah, I was sent this to review and I still haven't read it, so I really need to get onto it. So next we have Wolf by Ryan Gordon. This one has been on my TBR for a fair while, which is why I want to read it, but also I've been really slack in reading historical fictions lately, which is something that I enjoy reading, especially World War II based historical fiction, but I just haven't been reading like basically any. So I really need to get back on that bandwagon, and I do have 2 books in this pile that are historical fiction that I really want to read. So yeah, that's the reason this one's on there. I really need to get back into historical fiction and I have had this book for a little while and I really want to read it and I'm really curious. So next we have The Devouring Grey by Christine Lynn Herman. This one is a new release, so I haven't had it on my TBR for too long, but it does really interest me and it sounds really good. So I'm super keen to read this one, and that's the main reason why it's on this TBR. And I've heard nothing, not TBR, it's on this list. I've heard nothing but good things about this book, so I'm super keen and I am planning on reading it next month for readathons. So hopefully I'll be able to get to it then. Next we've got a book that has been on so many TBRs, it is ridiculous, and I still haven't gotten to reading it. And that is The Song Rising by Samantha Shannon. This is the third book to The Bone Season, which is a dystopian YA situation, and I loved The Bone Season and The Mime Order. I reread them the start of this year in preparation to read this during a readathon, and then it never happened. I put it on another readathon TBR, that never happened. I put it on a TBR and then something happened and I had to change it. I still haven't freaking read this and I really need to, but I think the reason I'm putting it off is because, for one, actually this book is smaller than the 2 first books in the series, which is odd, but I do read these very slowly for some reason. It's just, I don't know, that's just how these books are to me, so I think that's why I'm kind of putting it off, especially during readathons. I need to not put it in a readathon TBR and just read it, but there are so many readathons that I'm not sure when that's going to happen. So yeah, but I really need to get this on by the end of the year. It's getting a little bit ridiculous that I still haven't read this. So next we have the other historical fiction that I mentioned, that is The Girl in the Blue Coat by Monica Hesse. This one I only got this year, but I've heard nothing but amazing things about this. I think it was originally Hayley from Hayley and Bookland that I heard mention this and she really enjoyed it. I think it was her. I can't be sure, but I'm pretty sure it was her, and I really need to get to it. And also when I got this book, like when I bought it, look how gorgeous this cover is, and also this map situation on the inside. It's just a stunning book, and that made me even more keen to read it, so I'm putting it straight on this list. I need to get to this, and I need to get to some more historical fiction. I've been slacking. So the next two are two sequels that I need to get to because they were series or books that I enjoyed. Actually, this one was a book that I kind of enjoyed, like I didn't absolutely love it, but the romance, I fucking hate it. But it is Wildcard by Maria Lu. This is the second book to Warcross, and I did enjoy Warcross, but like I said, I hated the romance. So that has made me like really iffy about picking this up because I'm like, I don't want to know. But yeah, so I really want to get to this one, and I read Warcross, I don't know what year it was it this last year, year before, I can't remember, but I really need to get to this. It's been too long. Next we have another one that I am like so surprised that I haven't read yet, and that is Map of Days by Ransom Riggs. This is the fourth book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series. I think with this one I'm just straight up nervous because for one thing, this book is huge. It's only 500 pages, but it looks like massive. But it's also like Miss Peregrine's was originally only a trilogy, and then this book was added a few years later, which makes me really nervous because that can either be a freaking amazing thing or it can be horrible to a series. So I'm nervous, and it has been a fair while since I read Miss Peregrine's, but I was thinking about rereading via the audiobook the original series and then continuing on with this one. But yeah, I really need to get to this, but I've just been super nervous to actually pick it up. So the next two I'll talk about together because they're in the same world. But first off, we have Crooked Kingdoms by Leigh Bardugo, and then King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. So for Crooked Kingdoms, you might have seen I did a reading vlog where I reread Six of Crows earlier this year. I think it was only a couple months ago, and I really enjoyed it the second time around. The first time, it was one of those books, I listened to it on an audiobook, but I listened to it, I enjoyed it, and then I forgot absolutely everything that happened in that book. So I wanted to pick up King of Scars, but I couldn't remember anything from the previous series. So I decided I'm going to reread Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdoms before picking up King of Scars. So I need to get to my reread of Crooked Kingdoms so that way I can read King of Scars. So that is the plan, but yeah, I really need to get to these. And I need to do this reread so I can finally get to King of Scars, and I do want to vlog my experience doing both of these, so hopefully that'll be sometime in the future. But these are massive books, and I have a ton of readathons coming up, so they're not ideal, and I don't want to be vlogging for a readathon as well as trying to vlog my experience with this because it's just going to get confusing. So these two will have to be ones that I read outside of readathons. So trying to find a time outside of a readathon is a current problem. So those are the 10 books that I want to read before 2020. If you've read any of these, let me know your thoughts, especially with the Map of Days. I don't need spoilers, but is it worth picking up? I am so nervous about that book because I loved Miss Peregrine's. So good. So yeah, I'll try and remember to do a check-in at the end of the year to see whether I actually read these books that I planned on reading before the end of 2020, but we'll see how that goes. It depends if I remember. But yeah, that is it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.